On this episode, we're going to be addressing socializing dogs that have aggression issues, addressing inappropriate behavior in puppies, how to go about teaching a dog not to mark in his favorite area, and a little more on episode 40 of Dog Behavior Question Tuesday. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Blake Rodriguez with Dream Come True Canine, and this is episode 40 of Dog Behavior Question Tuesday. Big episode. I guess 40 is a milestone. I guess I kind of didn't realize it, but a lot of people started their questions, it looks like, with congratulations. So that actually is kind of a big deal. We're going to keep the ball rolling. Of course, we're doing a lot now on Instagram stories. We're doing our DBQ Tuesday. The first thing I want to kind of get out, a lot of people are always asking us how to ask questions and have it answered on this show. Every Friday to Sunday, there's a post that will say, ask your dog behavior question here. That post goes on our Instagram page only. You have to answer or ask your question, You have to ask your question in the comments of that post, and we will answer it for this show. We also have our Facebook Live. We do Fact Check Friday with Q&A at the end of that about that topic, and a flat-out open Q&A on Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is a flat-out Q&A called Awake with Blake on Facebook Live, all right? So I'm glad I got that out the way. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. Before I actually do that, let's introduce some of these guys. It's actually a pretty big deal right now because we have all of the this is everybody, right? All of the board and trains that are currently in our program. We had a bunch that just went home, but every single board and train that we have in the program is actually here right now. So we're gonna start. We have Samson, we have Dizzy. If you guys have been watching us for a while, you know them. Julieta and Vicente. Can you zoom in on that? Can you get a face on them? Samson, bench. Can you see that? Look at those two lovebirds over there. We have Riley over here. She's with us for dog and human aggression issues. These guys are working on getting better with kids. We got this guy, probably one of the most nervous, afraid, insecure dogs that we've worked with in a really, really long time. We have Maggie. Maggie trains with us privately and joins us on our train and play and boarding. We have Copper over here. You guys know Copper. Maxwell. We have Cooper. Cooper's with us for some anxiety and human aggression issues. We have my boy Soko, and then we have Wilson. Wilson's our newest dog. If you've been following us on Instagram, you saw when he first arrived, his behavior in the crate, his behavior less than 48 hours later, and kind of what we did. So he's making huge strides. And I kind of glanced through these questions just before we started. The answer to one of these is actually going to tie into exactly what we're doing here with him right now. So let's go ahead and jump into this. First question is from Never Settle 23. Got a new puppy, so I will be needing another e-collar soon. What would you recommend, another one-dog system or a two-dog system? My other dog is fully e-collar trained already, thanks to you and your colleagues. Well, for me, what are you doing over there, bud? For me, this is a no-brainer. Are you guys texting back and forth with each other?
I'm not texting.
It's because I keep seeing you guys looking at each other. I was like, well, you guys talking crap? What's going on? Saying in front of the camera. Sorry, guys, I'm just goofing around here. For me, this is a no-brainer. If you're using the one-dog system, there's a good shot that you're using a mini educator. That mini educator is a one-dog system. The two-dog system is the same exact setup. It's just you have one remote for two collars. Unless you're the type of person that honestly believes that like having two separate collars while walking a dog and trying to dial up and dial down and do that stuff is like your preference, two-dog collar all the way. Like e-collar Technologies has one of the best two-dog collars out. There's a couple things they can do to improve it, but overall you can adjust levels and have different levels between the two of them and do a little bit more and lock and it's really, really cool. So flat out answer 2-dog collar all the way for sure. Next question is, made you look. My rescue pit is 2 years old. I adopted him in 2014. Only dog in the household and not socialized very much with other dogs because he plays too aggressive. And my biggest fear is that he'll bite another dog. That's totally understandable. He lunges at some people when they get too close or attempt to pet him. Therefore, I rarely let him get close to anyone that isn't me or my other 2 family members that handle him. What can I do to stop him from barking, lunging at other dogs, people in the street, mainly the park? I'm gonna try to give you as short of an answer as possible that's to the point, that gives you actual like tangible things to kind of work on. The first piece of advice that I'm gonna give you is we recently just posted an index for our Dog Behavior Question Tuesday show on our website on the blog page. So if you go to our website, so the company name is Dream Come True K9, letter K, number 9. The website is the initials. It's DctK9.com, letter K, number 9. If you go to the blog and you go down, there's gonna be a DBQ Tuesday index. You have every single question and answer that you can literally just click and it'll bring you to that point in the video for all 39, or 38 at the moment. 39 is gonna go up today. All the episodes that we've ever done. So that's gonna allow you to probably, like this question is, I'm sure, been answered and dissected and broken down in a number of different ways. It's gonna allow you to kind of see the different ways we've approached it and answered and the different advice that we've given. Definitely take advantage of it, it's free. First thing I'm gonna go ahead and tell you is you kind of have a lot of different parts. There's a mixture of advocating for your dog so he feels that he doesn't have to worry about people that are coming, toward him, letting him know that there's an alternative choice that he should prefer to make, and we should start to make that a better choice. It might be as simple as when someone's coming, one, you need to know that that behavior that you're trying to display, that growling or that lunge, that concern and that look is flat out not allowed. I will correct you for that, and I will correct you firmly, especially once we've gone through the ABCs and the foundation of the language, where if I'm gonna correct you, you know that language, you know what it was for, you know what's going on. I'm gonna interrupt that in a way that gets you to think twice about doing that, but I've also rehearsed what an alternative option is and what I'd rather you do. And we've done that on lower levels where someone might be walking, and before it gets to the point of the lunge where you see concern, we're using a little leash pressure or a remote tap to get you to come over to me, and I'm rewarding that. So that way when you're getting nervous, you're actually getting a little nervous and moving away, and that's when I can step in the way and I can advocate and stop the behavior. So basically, you're not allowed to be a jerk and do something inappropriate that can get that person hurt or get you killed, right? Get you euthanized. I'm gonna take that flat off the table, off the menu. But I'm also gonna spend time teaching you what I'd rather do, and I'm gonna drill that and drill that and drill that till you get good at it. So that way when you know how to do this, but you have a go-to for doing that, I'm gonna interrupt that and you're gonna go, oh, I can't do that, he corrected me, I don't wanna make that mistake, I don't want a correction, what if I do this instead? And then when you make that choice, I'm gonna reward the crap out of it and let you know that that is what you need to be doing. That also means that I have to advocate for my dog more and make sure he or she is in positions where they don't feel vulnerable and they know that I have their back. As far as like hanging out around other dogs and stuff like that, your dog probably might be able to play but is getting too concerned. Same behavior with this guy, same situation with this guy. At one point, same situation with Vicente, same thing with Riley, same thing with Maggie, same thing with Copper, right? So what's really important to kind of, Copper played too rough, right? Yeah, I remember you came to the seminar. I forgot about all that because he's come so far. So a couple things that are really important is what I'm doing right now is a huge step in the right direction. Your dog needs to learn how to be around its own kind without being concerned. That's number one. And then when we have this state of mind, when we can achieve this because we practice this outside of dogs, you get really good at it. Then we can have you do it when you're around dogs. You get really good at it. Then we can start to get you to move again. And when you're moving, it's not excited movement. And we might be going on a walk with other dogs, with friends that are walking, and they're not meeting, we're just walking together. And you get over this, oh, there's another dog, and you just don't care. That's when we have the brain that goes from this to this. And the brain that is like this might be able to smell a little bit more, then we'll call the dog out. But the dog needs to be good on leash pressure, preferably on remote collar pressure, preferably no recall, all of the ABCs first. I've answered this question a number of times in different ways, and I'm not sure how we address, you guys are definitely texting each other. I'm not sure how to address socialization. I could already see Andrew smile. I'm not sure how to address socialization or where I address socialization, if it was on Periscope or Facebook Live, but we recently did this. It might have been on Facebook Live or Periscope. So definitely check that out. All that stuff is archived, and that will get you to where you need to be. Let's see where we are. And then also really quickly before I go to the next one, make sure before you're jumping to the park that you and your dog are ready for the park. You don't want to jump to something too soon. Really, really important, okay? Since you guys are texting back and forth, when you get a chance, could you get a picture from behind of the camera and this? Because I want to post this somewhere. Yeah, make yourself useful. Let's see what we have going on. So high five for canines. Good. Congrats on episode 40, Blake. What would you do to discourage young puppies only 3 and 4 months old to stop jumping on people? Obviously, everyone wants to greet puppies, and I have clients who don't have the right approach to be able to stop the greeting and ensuing excitement. Is the solution as simple as stopping others from touching the puppy, or should there be a correction involved? It's a little bit tougher because when you're working with pups, hey, you need to understand that they are pups. So to a degree, to an extent, you have to let pups be pups, but that doesn't mean that you can't start pointing them in the right direction. Most of what we're doing with puppies in earlier stages is we're working with, I guess you can say, 2 to 3 main quadrants. We're not focusing so much on positive punishment, which is a correction at that point. We're focusing more on positive reinforcement, spending time teaching a dog what to do. The value in using positive reinforcement in the right way is that when they're getting the food or the reward, it's for something that they did. A behavior that they did might be by mistake, a choice that they made that they may or may not be aware of. That's what's getting them the food. Positive means I'm adding something, let's say in this case food. Reinforcement, I'm reinforcing something in a way where I'm hoping that it's going to increase the likelihood of you doing it again. So I'm reinforcing that behavior. So that's one quadrant of 4, right? I've explained the 4 quadrants on Periscope. We've also put it on our YouTube page if you guys are unfamiliar with that. So that's that. We're also using negative punishment. So when you're working with puppies and you're staying in the positive reinforcement only realm, negative punishment is what goes hand in hand with positive reinforcement. A lot of people that don't know quadrants might hear that and be like, oh my gosh, punishment and negative, that can't be good. But actually what it is, it's the removal of something to decrease the likelihood of a choice reoccurring. So what you can do is you can simply do what we're doing right now with Vicente. And what we did with the mini Australian Shepherd puppies is we are rewarding them for the right stuff and removing something when they're making the wrong choice. What's important about this here is you have to get the dog into a rhythm where they understand that if you withhold something, it's because of something that they did or didn't do. That's not happening for no reason. So working a dog for food is going to help to kind of create that. You need a dog that understands that when you're dispensing food, it's for something that they did. When you're not dispensing food, it's for something that they did or didn't do. That's really important. So you're removing something, negative reinforcement. For example, I tell my dog Fluffy to sit. Fluffy's butt hits the ground. I add food that's positive reinforcement. I continue to do that every time he sits. Then all of a sudden somebody calls me and I say, hey, what's up? The dog doesn't get it at the same rate and gets a little worked up and jumps on me. When the dog jumps on me, I say nope and I pull the food away. If I'm pulling something away, it has the potential to actually be a pretty strong aversive, even though there's no physical touch or anything present. And that's valuable in early stages. When you pull something away, a dog should get somewhat frustrated, and we can help them to make the right choice and then get them to realize that, look, I'm giving it to you when you're doing this, but I'm removing it when you're doing this. We need to get them more in a rhythm of doing that. And then you also have to make sure and have your client say, yeah, you know what? You can't pet my dog right now. My dog is in training. And if you want to pet my dog, you can, but this is how we're going to go about it. Because this is the reality. Like, I don't care that you've had 10 dogs. I don't care that your dog that just passed away looked like mine. I mean, like, I get it. That's great. But, like, I don't want you, like, ruining a behavior that puts me at risk of like having to correct my dog or having this behavior be more inappropriate down the road because like you selfishly just want to pet my dog and you go, oh, it's okay, I love dogs. It's not okay because the dog lives with me and I'm trying to set this dog up for the real world. And don't get me wrong, like mistakes are going to happen, but like you can't try to tell your dog no and have the people and like be uncomfortable with telling the person, hey, please stop, I'm in training right now, I have to get this, and feel uncomfortable with stopping them and try it, and then when they can continue moving forward, just kind of let them do it because you're devaluing yourself. So sometimes you got to get pretty firm, and if they view you as a jerk, or I don't really care because at the end of the day, I don't live with you, I live with this dog. You see what I mean? So that's how you have to see it as a trainer, that's how your clients have to see it, and really understand that like we have to get the dog into a rhythm where exactly, I posted this on Instagram stories, what we're doing for Vicente is he loves kids right now, and he's jumping at them and almost like through them to get them, and he's hurting kids, not because he's aggressive, but he's hurting kids and he's scaring kids, and maybe giving them like bloody lips and stuff, all because he wants that affection, but he doesn't realize that what he's doing to get it is inappropriate. So in this point, he's at this point where he is, he's getting a correction to interrupt that behavior, and then when he's doing the right thing, we're actually showing him, look, you can get affection what you want for doing this, for holding a down position, or for holding a sit, or for allowing me to come to you, rather than me going, when Dizzy is over here, rather than me going, hey boy, and like trying to like kind of get him and like bring him over here. Of course he's gonna move and he's gonna pull. You know what I mean? So like little things like that are like really important, and that's basically my advice for that. I'm not gonna get like too much more into that, but hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, but down the road for that, when puppies get to the point that they're good at that, then you can start adding corrections. But before you add corrections, make sure they know the language that you're correcting and they know that tool. Right? You've practiced that outside of the problem. You've practiced that for place command. You've practiced that for this, that, and the third in the house, you know, so they're familiar with it. Let's see. Bruno and Mo. Congratulations on reaching 40 episodes. Thank you. I learned so much watching your vids and posts. My question, I have a Pomeranian Chihuahua mixed dog. He will be turning 8 in December. He is potty trained, but for some reason he still marks or pees on the same places inside the house. He is not potty trained, that's what that means. I've tried everything. It's like saying he's not a murderer, but when he goes to the bar, he occasionally kills people. But for some reason, he still marks or pees, right? I've tried everything, but he still does it. What can I do to discourage this behavior? Is it too late for him to learn? It is definitely not too late. Also, there's something new that he does. He would pee on my pillow or my blanket when I'm not around. This started when I'm gone on vacation out of the country for 2 weeks. Help. Okay, so a couple things that we're looking to do. I'm gonna keep it really simple. Your dog is not responsible enough to make these choices on their own. Your dog might be potty trained to an extent. I get what you mean by that. I didn't mean to like really kind of, you know, take a jab at you, but at the same time, hopefully you get what I mean. You cannot allow your dog to be in positions where they can do that and you're not there to catch it. Simple, clean, and clear as day. Your dog needs to learn the place command. Your dog needs to learn how to relax. Your dog needs to learn leash pressure so you can interrupt certain things. Your dog should be holding place more frequently. That's first and foremost. When you're gone, your dog needs to learn how to be crate trained. If your dog has started peeing on your pillows when you're gone, there's also a really good chance that your dog has anxiety and your dog is getting a little anxious and worked up and like nervous and stuff and is starting to pee. We need to help get rid of anxiety, and that has to do with teaching your dog that it's okay to be left behind, it's okay if I'm gone, and this is what you do. So the crates, think of it as a cradle, right? With babies. Why do we put babies in cradles? Because when we're not supervising them, it's a safe place for them to be where they can't practice getting hurt or getting into trouble or making mistakes. Same thing for dogs. Will your dog struggle in the crate? There's a good chance, and there's a really good shot, especially if you're not crating your dog. It's probably a good reason, because your dog is going to bark or your dog is going to try to break out or something. But even more of a reason to teach your dog how to be cool in the crate, because that is a habit shaper. We want to shape the habits of this is what you do when you're relaxing and I'm not gone. So when we start working on responsibilities of you being out when I am around, you know what to do and how to do it, right? So there's a little bit of a road ahead of you, but you have to kind of do these things. Another thing I would suggest is going through the dog behavior question index and taking advantage, because I've broken this down so that you know what you need to start working on, but your dog needs the foundation ABCs to kind of help you with this, okay? Let's see where we are, but it's definitely not too late. It's just a matter of, think of it this way. It's a matter of this. You're putting your dog in a situation where you're expecting them to get the answer right, and they have multiple choice questions A through Z, and your dog hasn't really studied for it. There's too many potential options for an answer. It's a good shot that even if your dog studied, your dog is going to fail. Whether your dog studied or not, if we make the options very clear, A or B, crates or out of the crate, when you're out of the crate, this is what you're doing, you at the very least, have a 50-50 shot, right? So we need to take away potential options and opportunities that we're not there to help them with, and really control their choices so they have choices A and B, right or wrong, and not A through Z. Hopefully that makes sense. Last question is going to be from Carlo. What's up, Carlo? How's it going, man? When the dogs are whining and struggling during holding place, do you correct that or not? I actually did a Periscope that sums this up. Was it a Periscope or was it a YouTube? It was a Periscope, right? Go to our Periscope page, look through the archives, and check that out, because that sums that up really, really nicely. I think I also posted it on Facebook. But it's really important because it depends on the type of whining. There's some whining that you have to allow. There's some whining that you want to interrupt. There's some whining or growling or physical behaviors that you want to correct. It really depends on where you are and what your dog knows. And I summed it up really, really nicely and broke it down. I think there's actually 2 Periscopes on that. So go to the index, really easy for you, and that'll help you out as well, okay? Guys, thank you so much. Episode 40, huge, huge milestone. We're going to be at it next week with episode 41. Coming at you with Instagram stories and all the other good stuff. We have a new blog that's going to be up tomorrow on our websites, and much, much more. I'll see you guys next week.